Well, hold on a second. Adding to the stage. There she is. Hi. They put us in a new spot. Welcome to check-in. Sarah said to me before we came on the air, make sure you put us both on the screen. I thought I did. Obviously, you did not. But welcome to the show. I told everybody you weren't going to be on the show. So thanks.
Yeah. And then I got frantic messages from our bosses saying, please, you have to be on the show. Do not leave him alone.
Yeah. He can't be trusted. So obviously I'm in the Hall of Fame meeting room.
And I'm just down the hall. We're not able to be in our studio today, but looking forward still to getting everyone set for this game here tonight between the Winnipeg Jets and the New York Rangers, game 66 of the regular season for the Jets as they return home for their next two games tonight and then also on Friday against the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, I know that's a very interesting homestand to say the least, and especially with Dallas lurking in the background on television. They were a ways back, not so much now. They do have a game in hand on the Winnipeg Jets. Of course, Dallas went on Sunday. They do not play again until Friday when they're here in Winnipeg for the big showdown. So a big show in front of us. Mitchell Clinton from 680 CJOB will be joining us here momentarily. Molly Walker from the New York Post will give us a Rangers perspective. And it's crazy to think the Rangers won the President's Trophy last year with the best record in the National Hockey League and are now fighting for their playoff lives in the Eastern Conference, one of many teams in the East trying to fight for those two wildcard spots in the conference. So it's a crazy kind of turn of events for the Rangers. So Molly will kind of get us up to date on that. And of course, the great Sam Rosen is calling his last game here in Winnipeg. Sam Rosen, the play-by-play face and voice of the Rangers for a long time. A great moment in the Matt Cross Media Center today. Of course, Scott Arniel, who was an assistant coach of the Rangers for 5 years, I believe it was, gave a big shout out to Sam. There's a large round of applause as he makes his last turn through Canada. We'll call the game tonight, obviously, on MSG Network, but we'll talk to Molly about that as well. In the meantime, some interesting things in front of us. Luke Schenn skated with the team for the first time yesterday. It was an optional skate. I believe there's only 9 players plus Eric Comrie on the ice, but it was just great to see Luke. He is big. like that. I don't know how else. 225, 6'2". And of course, the big.
You did do your homework.
I did. We talked about this.
A little bit of prep.
We had a little bit of a conversation about this. Sarah loves to prep. So before we get kind of in the show, I had put it out there that you weren't going to be on the show today, and I was going to put question of the day. Sarah would rather do blank than co-host the show with me. And I was all excited about doing this because our viewers are amazing. They're great about answering these types of questions. But you came and you texted me like, I'm done already. I'm like, come on. Thought I had the show to myself. But so I'm really glad you're here though, just in all seriousness. So I was excited to do that. But anyways, you wrapped up. What were you doing before this that maybe didn't have you available to do the show?
Oh, I just was doing something, helping out on the corporate side with an event that was going on that I was able to wrap up. And so it was great because I love being able, obviously, to be here on Check-In and love seeing all of the comments and all of the viewers that are chatting right now as they get ready and some excitement. As you mentioned, the debut of Luke Schenn, a lot of anticipation for that one tonight. And I think I've mentioned before, and I probably did when they acquired Luke on Friday, that I was part of the TSN broadcast when he was drafted back in 2008 and covered him as part of his first go round with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And he's just such a wonderful person. So it was great to be able to see him. But I was watching him yesterday speak to the media, and it's been so many years since I've covered Luke. To see him now, in his 30s, and meanwhile, I covered him when he was 18, which not only made me feel old, but I just looked at him and thought, oh, look, he's grown up so much. I said I felt like I was that, I don't know, proud sister or a cousin of look at how far he's come and what he's able to do. So a great addition. Looking forward to seeing him and in the lineup tonight on a pairing with Hayden Fleury. And we'll talk more about the lines in a minute, I believe.
I could show him right now.
Yeah, show him right now, just before we bring in Mitchell Clinton to talk about it. Also great to see Vladislav Nemesnikov out there on the ice and expected to be back in that familiar role on that second line center. He left the game early in Carolina. He played just 10 minutes, so there was concern there, but he is going to be good to go tonight. So looking forward to being able to see at this point, as healthy as a roster can be, and the options that exist for Scott Arniel and the coaching staff.
There's a guy who has never missed a game. He's been healthy his whole career, and he is joining us now from Canada Life Center. Never missed a game. Nothing has stopped you. You are relentless. You are gritty. You are Mitchell Clinton of 680 CJOB. Welcome to the show, Mitch.
Anytime that we talk about health and not missing a game, I just remember the week I missed games because of pneumonia. I remember that's
right.
Thing
you had to miss the game. Because you know what? The best part of it was I benefited from your illness because I got to go to New York. I remember that specifically now. So thank you for getting sick. I did lie. You have missed games.
And now that I know that the event that Sarah was working on prior to check-in is over, as I was making my way back into the bowl from the media room, I saw there was like a table full of these like small like desserts and stuff. So after I'm done this, I'm totally going to go grab some of them because now I know like they're not like being prepared to be out. They've already been out. They're everybody's now. So I'm going to go grab them.
Well, we bring you on the show for many things, and it's an exciting time. One of the acquisitions on Friday before the trade deadline was Luke Schenn. They brought him from Pittsburgh. The amazing part with Luke is he got traded twice in 2 days, essentially. Said he had only talked to Sidney Crosby in his short time with the Penguins, didn't get any of the gear or anything like that, and then got traded to the Jets. But the exciting part is making his debut tonight. Thoughts of him on that third pairing with Hayden Fleury?
Yeah, that was one of the things, like when he was acquired by the Winnipeg Jets, the first thing I looked at, because none of this stuff is fresh in your mind. You can remember a lot of things as a media member, but some things just slip your mind. I checked what hand he was, because as soon as you start thinking of pairings, it's like, okay, who might he be paired with? You want to kind of figure out where he might slot in. And once I saw he was right-handed, of course, there's a number of different options on the left side for the Winnipeg Jets. And Hayden Fleury is going to get the first assignment with that. So, Fleury's a guy that can skate, can move the puck. And one of the things that has really come out of Luke Schenn, especially since he's kind of had the resurgence that he's had in his career over the last, handful of years, is how well he does move the puck. You can talk about how physical Luke Schenn can be, how tough he can be on the penalty kill and in front of the Winnipeg Jets net. But ultimately, as a defenseman, you have to be able to move the puck, especially to play the way that the Winnipeg Jets want to play. And that's something that Luke Schenn takes a lot of pride in. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think, the fact that, Luke Schenn tends to be, leans more on the defensive side of things, might allow Hayden Fleury to use his legs, get up in the play, which is another thing that the Winnipeg Jets really want from that pairing. So I'm really intrigued to see how they work together. And, Scott Arniel today just kind of talked about how that's just one look that they're going to look at. They're going to need everybody, regardless of how the lineup tends to shake out on a night-to-night basis. So hopefully that they find some consistency as we get down the stretch here in the regular season. But great spot to start. I'm very curious to see how Fleury and Shen work together.
Mitch, when you look at the way that the Jets have played recently, sometimes they haven't been able to get the results that maybe their game you would think would have afforded them, but they were 2-2 on the road trip. They come back now. Jamie and I were talking before you came on about how they still obviously have their lead in the Central Division, but Dallas is creeping up there. Colin Miller was asked yesterday about if he watches the standings. He says no. I know the rest of us obviously do. Do you think there's any concern or maybe a little extra pressure on this Jets team right now with the way that the Stars have been playing of late and trying to close that gap?
It could be a motivator, I think. It's interesting because you look back over the course of the year, and really after Winnipeg had that really strong start and even built on it further with that 11-gamer that they went on, they haven't really had to look at the standings that much. You know what I mean? Like they've been really able to focus on their own game. And I think that's still the case in this regard for Winnipeg. But at the same time, and Paul and I were talking about it on the broadcast the other day, you got 2 matchups left with the Dallas Stars, one coming up on Friday that's going to be a heck of a tilt in downtown Winnipeg. And, Dallas also has a game in hand. So all of a sudden that 6-point lead you got to win some games. And Winnipeg knows that. That's not going to be a big shock to them. And they've been facing teams, especially from the Eastern Conference over the last little bit, that, have been desperate in their play, trying to get into the playoff picture or improve their standings. So they've been facing these desperate teams for a while. They've been in these big games for a while. And really over the last 3-4 years, they've, Winnipeg has been quite dominant against Central Division opponents. Dallas has been a little bit of a problem the last year and a bit. So I would imagine, nobody's going to be surprised by the stakes in that game on Friday. I think that's going to be a really interesting one. But I don't think there's concern necessarily, but it's a matter of you're definitely aware. The players are definitely aware of where everybody is, even if they don't watch the standings. I know it's something that they bring up, whether it's in meetings or otherwise, because Scott Arniel said at the start of the year, the mission was you have to eliminate 8 teams. You need to eliminate 8 teams in your conference. So they're working on that right now. They'd love to get first, absolutely, especially as you kind of look at not even just in the Central Division, but over in like the Atlantic, that 2-3 matchup is going to be difficult no matter who you are. So if you can get first, doesn't necessarily guarantee anything, but Winnipeg would love to finish first and then see how the chips fall when it comes to the postseason.
I don't know if you guys saw the second Austin Powers movie when Mini-Me came into the whole scheme of things. And remember when he fell off the baby Bjorn and then he pops back up and Austin Powers goes, he's okay. That's what Vladislav Nemesnikov is. Vladislav Nemesnikov is okay. And Will Center, the second line for the Winnipeg Jets. He was asked today, Mitch, about the amount of offense they've been generating and have not been able to score. What are you seeing from that second line that gives you hope that this is going to turn the corner for them?
Just that the chances are there, honestly. Mm-hmm. I mean, Cole Perfetti had a move on Jalen Chatfield in Carolina that was unbelievable, just to be able to get around him and get in on that breakaway chance. And I mean, the 5-hole on Frederick Anderson was there until it wasn't. You know what I mean? He was able to get a stick there and keep that puck out, just kind of like how he was. Ooh, lights off in the bowl. I might get a light show. So yeah, like the chances are there. That's always been the big thing to watch for with whether it's an individual player or a line that's struggling. The chances are there. We know the finish is there on that line. I mean, Cole Perfetti was, a goal away from 20 last year, and he's kind of pacing towards possibly getting to that again this year. Vlad Nemesnikov has kind of just been snake bit, honestly. He's got himself in a number of great spots, just hasn't gone for him. We know Nikolai Ehlers can score, and he's kind of trending toward an offensive career year. So the chances have all been there, and I hate kind of repeating that because ultimately, and the players know that they're kind of paid for results, and they want to be able to find ways to help contribute. But that line doesn't spend a whole lot of time in their defensive zone, which is a big thing for the coaching staff. And I think that's why they've been given the rope that they've been given. The only other thing that I would point to is the fact that in Carolina, and we only saw it for one shift because of penalties, depending on matchups, especially on the road, you might see Adam Lowry go into that center spot just to cover it off, because one thing Rod Brindamore was trying to do was get Sebastian Aho against Vlad Nemesnikov's line. Now they can defend. That's not a big problem for them. Like I said, they don't spend a lot of time in their defensive zone, but that is an adjustment that I think head coach Scott Arniel is maybe wading around in his head, depending on what matchups he gets on any given night.
Okay, I want to know, did you actually remember the scene from Austin Powers 2 that he was referring to?
I was a big Austin Powers person. So
all right, fine.
I
thought maybe from the expression on your face, but that you were like me and just doing them.
No,
sure,
because
JT.
I quote the he's okay pretty frequently.
Thank you. You do understand me, Mitch, and you can stay. And I like the color, all the colors suit you that you're going through.
Is this the second? I think I've been on the show 3 times.
In Toronto.
I think this is the second time I've had some fun lighting. So who knows what I have for an encore after this one.
To know only
what happens next.
Exactly. Oh, I'm excited. Think about what the possibilities are for the postseason. Oh.
To haul my own lighting kits in or something.
See you, buddy. Thanks. Have a good call tonight.
See you later.
There's Mitchell Clinton joining us from the Bulls of CLC. Before we move on here, we should probably have a little, of course, Luke Schenn had his availability yesterday, did not join the team in Raleigh after the trade deadline, came here to work things out. Very complicated when you have family at the trade deadline. So here's Luke Schenn being asked about people being excited in the province of Saskatchewan that he's going to be here in the prairies with the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, I mean, of course, Saskatchewan people, well, it's split. I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of Oilers and Flames fans, and there's lots of Jets fans. But no, there's no question. Everyone's excited. I mean, it's a prairie team, and people are fired up on the hockey standpoint. And obviously, given the position that the Jets are in this year and how great of a year everyone's talking about, it's not just people in Saskatchewan, it's people across the league are obviously taking notice of the Winnipeg Jets this year.
Oh, exactly, character, and that's the type of player he is. He's a team first guy, and there's a lot of those stories where guys look like they might be falling out of the game and find a way to get themselves back, and he did that, and went to Anaheim and did what he had to do to get himself back in the league, and and winning cups and getting the experiences that he's gotten. That's stuff that we need. Like I said, he's a team first guy that brings it every night, brings it hard, and has an edge to him, and penalty killer. Does a lot of the grunt work that those type of players bring, and that's what we're looking forward to.
So he was asked about two things that is notable here. He was asked about, will he become a Winnipeg Blue Bomber fan now that he's here in Winnipeg? And he said, absolutely not. Can't change
bleeds
that.
Green.
He bleeds green. That's not going to change. He was also asked about the fact that he's wearing number 5. For the majority of his career, he's wore number 2. There's another guy here named Dylan DeMello that wears that number. So the best part was, he said he had texted Brendan Dillon, who's now with the New Jersey Devils, and asked for his blessing if he could wear number 5. And of course, he said that happened. So I had texted Brendan Dillon last night, and I said, I heard that you had asked for the blessing to wear number 5. He said, yes, he absolutely did. Well, texted me wondering if I cared. Not at all. Happy he can wear it proudly. Then he also said, great person, really cares, cup champ, good Sasky boy. That's from Brendan Dillon, who'll be here a little bit later this month. But just a great addition with Luke Schenn. Of course, on that third defense pairing will be a big part of the Jets' penalty kill.
Yes, absolutely.
That has already added Brandon Tanev. So it's amazing how quickly the look of this team has changed, but two great character people going into that dressing room, which is only a great thing.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing Luke in the lineup, and really love the evolution of his career and how he's been able to fight to stay in the league, and then to not only stay in the league when we thought several years ago that that his career was winding down when he spent time in the AHL with the Ducks, and then he's been on so many one-year contracts as well. But to be able to have the success and to persevere the way that he has is great with what he'll be able to bring. Looking forward to seeing, as are many people in the chat, looking forward to seeing what he's going to bring to this game tonight, and on a pairing with Hayden Fleury, and the options that exist now for Scott O'Neill in a variety of ways, whether that be on the blue line or when you look at penalty kill. And the penalty kill is something that we've spoken about a lot, this season. It doesn't get the attention that the power play does because it hasn't been the strength of the team, but it certainly has improved since January 1st. I want to say that it might be 9th best in the league since Jan 1. And this will only continue to help it, because I don't understand when you look at penalty kill and that willingness to throw yourself in front of shots and do whatever it takes to keep the puck away from Connor Hellebuck or Eric Comrie. Brandon Tanev is one of the players that certainly does that. And I do not understand. God bless him for having the mindset. I do not understand that willingness to just throw yourself in front of a puck that might be moving 90 to 100 miles per hour.
Yeah, it's a different mentality. You're thinking with goaltenders, they're weird that way, but it's the guys that are blocking shots that have another crazy mentality on top of that.
100%.
So this is the first year. So both Braden and Luke Schenn have played 1,000 games. The ironic part, or maybe a little bit of irony, the last time Luke Schenn played against the Winnipeg Jets was with the Nashville Predators. It was on February 27th. That exact same night, Braden Schenn played his 1,000th game in the National Hockey League. So some interesting digging when you actually do some journalism stuff in this world. So speaking of journalism, Molly Walker from the New York Post is going to join us now. She welcomes from her Winnipeg hotel. Molly, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Hey, I was going to get to this last, but I think it's kind of a good thing to ask you about. I saw on your Twitter page, or on X, about, a discussion with Sam Rosen. Sam got a really nice applause in the Matt Frost Media Center here today. He's calling his last game here in Winnipeg What has it been like to be around Sam, and what has he meant to you in your career?
Sam is easily my favorite face to see around the rink every day. Has been that way since I started 5 years ago. I mean, everybody always talks about meeting their heroes, meeting their idols, and things like that. Obviously, I am one of several people who grew up in the tri-state area listening to Sam Rosen my entire life. My mom always likes to say that I was listening to Sam Rosen since I've been in her belly. So I have been so truly honored to get to work alongside him, and he is just such a ray of light in the rink every time that you see him. And the fact that he agreed to sit down with me and do a video package about his career, reflecting on his time as a legendary voice of the Rangers, was such an honor for me, and something that I will get to keep for the rest of my career. And it has just been truly so special. He is one of a kind.
Yeah, absolutely. When you think about how long, I think it was 1984 maybe that he started calling Rangers games, and he's just been such a staple and an iconic voice when you think about the NHL and play-by-play broadcasters. Molly, he's had some great moments to call when it comes to the Rangers over the years. This year, though, certainly there has been ups and downs, is the way that I will put it. Can you give us some insight into where the Rangers are right now in terms of a group that goes from, really winning and being there with the President's Trophy to all of a sudden now being on the outside looking in when it comes to the playoff picture at this moment?
Yeah, it's been an eventful season, to say the least.
Molly's had no shortage. She's had no issues finding topics to write about this year.
None. And it's funny because after the 5-0-1 start, all of us writers were talking about how boring the season was. And well,
little did you know.
That's karma for you, I think. But no, it's obviously a much different looking team than where they started. And I think that alone has made it a very interesting season, because this team hasn't seen a lot of movement in the last 5 years. It has been a pretty concrete core that has returned season after season. So there's been a lot of turnover on the back end, losing their captain. So a lot of different changes this season. And I definitely think that played one of several roles in that 4-15 stretch that the Rangers had earlier this season that basically almost derailed the entire campaign. So I think that the worst is behind them, definitely, because it was a really low bar to clear. But I think now they're in a position that they're very unfamiliar with, that they haven't been in a very long time. So I think that has been an adjustment as well. They haven't really had to be a desperate team in a long time. So we're seeing that, and it hasn't always gone their way either. So this weekend in particular was really tough. I mean, we're looking at a team that just has almost always, since I've been around, they've just been able to figure it out, whether it's coming from behind. They have so much talent, whether it's Chris Kreider scoring a hat trick in the third period of Game 6 of the Carolina series. There's just always something. They've always just had this intangible to just figure it out and come together. And they've just been missing that it factor this season, I think, because of how tumultuous the whole season has been. It's been difficult for anybody to really grab it and stabilize it. And in a weekend like this, where they had not one but two opportunities to jump into the top wildcard spot, and they instead fall out of the playoff picture, it's deflating. It's been a lot of disappointment. So they're working through it. They're trudging through it, and they're trying to still salvage the season, because obviously if you go from winning the President's Trophy to not even making the playoffs, talk about a fall from grace. So it's been tough. It's been a tough season.
The last time the Jets and Rangers played, Molly, they were both on top of the National Hockey League standings. Things were good in New York. We had Mike Kelly on the show, and we were asking about the importance of Igor Shesterkin. And he said at that time, the Rangers were just like a fire sale in their own end, giving up lots of grade A chances. And they needed Igor Shesterkin long-term to keep things going. So here's my question to you now. Those same defensive issues seem to be back around again. What in your mind has to change down the stretch run here for the Rangers to make the playoffs with their defensive problems?
It's a loaded question because it's a really loaded question. Seriously, it's a loaded question because
no pressure at all. No.
I know, because it seems to be the system that they're playing, like, so I mean, I guess the short, boring answer is to execute the defensive system better. But, you could only do with what they're given. And Peter Laviolette, and I don't want this to come across as a knock on Peter Laviolette, but something that has followed him throughout his entire career is the questions about his defensive system. And I know Kuznetsov, I remember, had a very memorable quote where he said he still to this day doesn't know what the Capitals were trying to accomplish in the defensive zone. And people that I talk to say similar things about the Rangers structure. So I don't know if it boils down to that, but it's also, I think it is an execution thing, and the Rangers just got to get meaner in the middle of their zone. Now that they have JT Miller, they have a little bit more of that ferocity in the middle of the zone, somebody that'll come in and knock you over if you try to get to a dirty area of the ice. But I put out an article today with some great stats from Stathletes, Megan Chikra's platform, but some serious damning defensive numbers for the Rangers, just in terms of the abundance of passes that are completed to the slot, on the inner slot. They've given up the most shot attempts off the rush this season, things like that. They're constantly on their heels in that regard. So it's a loaded question, but I mean, they just simply have to be better defensively. They really do.
Well, I appreciate the time. I'm sorry we had to put you on the spot like that. I feel like you fixed everything, so they should be fine tonight. Hopefully not tonight.
We'll see. We'll see.
And then we'll give you all the praise that you deserve should this turn around here tonight and they make the playoffs. Thanks, Molly.
Thank you. You could write with help, with coaching from Molly Walker.
That's right.
Thank you.
New York Post. Thank you. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Molly.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
It's Molly Walker.
Certainly it'll be interesting to watch the Rangers and keep an eye from a distance on what happens with the Rangers through the rest of this regular season.
Yeah.
Molly covering the team for the New York Post. So those of you that are wanting to keep an eye on this, because let's be honest, sometimes when it's not your team that's involved in the tumultuous times, that you look and enjoy watching from the outside. So Molly Walker does great work covering the Rangers. And she mentioned how much this past weekend hurt the Rangers, and it did. I mean, they lost to Ottawa, they lost to Columbus, two teams that they are chasing right now that have left them out of that wild card spot then. So if you look in the East, Ottawa, 71 points, Columbus, 70 points, the Rangers, 68 points, and Montreal 66, and the Rangers have played one more game than any of those other three teams. So certainly these are points that are desperate times and that the Rangers desperately need. So it'll be interesting to see what happens tonight and how these two teams match up, because not only is it very different from what we saw in terms of the standings when these two teams last played, which was a Jets win in New York, also the rosters have undergone significant changes as well.
I see some people wondering about the lineup tonight, so just one more time, we'll throw it up for you. That fourth line is going to be the same as it was. Morgan Barron, Scott Arniel said this is not so much an experiment, but they're going to keep looking at this for a significant amount of time. He'll center that line with Brandon Tanev and Alex Iafallo. Everything else remains the same outside of the third defense pairing when Hayden Fleury comes in to join Luke Schenn as he makes his Winnipeg Jet debut. So very curious to see how that is. Of course, Connor Hellebuck will get the start in goal for Winnipeg.
Yeah, looking forward to this. There are only after tonight, I believe it is, 8 games remaining at home for the regular season. And the Jets, not only has the atmosphere been great inside the building this year, and you know what, I would anticipate, to be honest, Friday's game against Dallas to be one of the best ones coming up. But also you look at the success that the Jets have had at home. We know how crucial it is to be able to a team's success, to be able to establish dominance on home ice. The Jets 23-5-4, just going through right now. They are 14-2-4 in their last 20 at Canada Life Center. And they continue to find, even when they have run into hiccups and some struggles along the way, they have continued to find ways to get themselves out of it. Everything is not going to go smoothly the entire time. We know that it never does in any sport. I guess unless you want to talk about the Dolphins, but we don't know anybody that likes the Miami Dolphins. So,
why?
but you know, what? I think the Jets. You look at the contributions that they that they have had, and these are, I think, you can say blips on the radar. In that last game against Carolina, they found themselves. That was a game that Carolina got out to the 3-0 lead right away. One of the things that did come out of there, if you're looking at some of the overall production and trends throughout the season, Iafallo hit double digits in terms of goals for it. That Pionk and Tanev both sit with 9, and right now the Jets have the third most double-digit goal scorers in the league behind Carolina and Montreal. They are getting production from a variety of people, and a style of game, I think, again, that you can have success with going forward.
Adam Lowry also scored his 14th goal of the year, so he's one away from his career best of 15, I believe, was set in the 16-17 season. So he's also producing on a goal that Freddie Anderson gave right to him. And the incredible part about that game, too, is Freddie Anderson, I'm sure Jets fans remember him when he was goaltending for the Anaheim Ducks in the 2015 playoffs. So Freddie Anderson's career in regular season against Winnipeg now 14-2-2. So avoid Carolina and Freddie Anderson. You've always done some great work on the home ice videos that are on our YouTube channel right now. Can you set up the next one for our viewers, Sarah?
Yeah, we just released it yesterday, and it's focusing on the wives and girlfriends of the Winnipeg Jets players and the work that they do in the community. International Women's Day just passed. Tonight, we're celebrating at the game here at Canada Life Center, celebrating women in sport, which is great. And while these women might not play on the ice, they certainly are an integral role to the success of the players, and they do a lot of work within the community as well. So love to have the opportunity to showcase them a little bit as well, instead of just the husbands and boyfriends, and show some of the important work that they do.
We are here taking pictures for the Jets Pets calendar, and all proceeds go to Darcy's Ark, a local shelter here in Winnipeg.
Obviously, for all of us and all of the guys, all of our pets are a really big part of our lives, so to be able to share that with hockey fans has been really great.
Yeah, I think it's important to focus on sometimes things other than hockey, because that's what we deal with kind of all the time, is hanging out with the guys. We hear hockey, watching the games with the girls and stuff, so it's nice to kind of have our own thing.
That looks fun.
So look, there is a lot that we go into just about the work that they do. We talk a little bit about the term WAGs. We talk about fashion. We talk about the job that they have done in a variety of different charity capacities within the city. So make sure it is available now on Winnipeg Jets YouTube channel. So make sure to check it out if you get the chance.
Well, our good friend Hustler is probably kicking things off on Winnipeg Sports Talk right now, so we will step aside for this one. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us today. I thought you were going to,
I rushed back in order
to
do this.
Your makeup, because
you know what?
Yeah.
We love seeing, as always, so many of you in the chat and taking part. And I did see someone say, "What's the deal? We haven't seen a question of the day in a while." You said that you were going to bring up a question of the day, so we promised that for Friday's show, setting up the Central Division clash, the massive game against the Dallas Stars, that we will bring back a question of the day. So get ready for it, Jets fans.
Yeah, it's a lot of work coming up with the question of the day. So it's just I needed a break. So Sarah left it for me all the time. So I had to take. So we'll have a good one for you guys on Friday. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you guys wanting to take part of that stuff. And we should hear from you guys a little bit more. So the Jets will be taking on the New York Rangers here tonight. Enjoy the game, everybody. Should be a lot of fun. Watch it on TSN, of course. And, of course, listen to it on CJOB and Power 97 with Paul and Mitch.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Great to see all of you. Hope to see you all on Friday. And thanks so much for checking in.